Last year at this time, I made a video about why I couldn't set New Year resolutions and how just finding it really hard to sit down and write down goals. And I know a lot of it had to do with still recovering from cancer and the chemotherapy treatments, as well as I'd had a bit of bad luck with work and I was really unsure about what job I would get next. It was very out of character for me not to be able to write down New Year resolutions. And I think that's why it really hurt me at that time, not being able to do it. And later on in January, I was able to write things down, but it kind of hit me all of a sudden in the middle of the night. I was like, I have to write down these ideas. And there were about 10 of them, and I can't find the book in which I wrote all these things down. I might keep looking for it later, but I just thought that it was really interesting because this year, at the same time, just 1 year later, I couldn't wait to write down my goals for 2018. I felt that same love come back, that same motivation, and that same excitement for the potential of the year. And while I know a lot of people don't like New Year resolutions, I think it's just a great time to reflect, think about what you want to achieve. I'm going to share some of my goals for 2018, and I hope you guys can share yours down below in the comments as well. But before I do that, when I was writing down my goals, I was thinking a lot about exciting new things that I really wanted to achieve or do that's kind of out of the ordinary, or it's something that I have to start that I haven't done before. But I think it's really important to acknowledge and write down the things that you have achieved in 2017 and you want to continue doing, like habits. For example, I just started doing evening walks about 2 to 3 months ago, and I have been surprisingly consistent. I'm so happy at how consistent I am that whenever I'm at home in the evening, I'll go for at least a 30-minute walk, but often they end up to be 40 or 45 minutes because I don't want to stop listening to my audiobook or podcast. And that's about 4 to 5 times a week at least. And sometimes I can even make it more. So I'm really happy that I've done that and I want to continue that. And I'm also acknowledging that it's really hard to maintain habits. It's normally quite easy to start something, but very hard to maintain it. And so even if your New Year resolutions list is just writing things down that you're happy that you've started and that you're proud that you've started and you just want to continue doing that, then write them down. Well, 2 other habits that I'm really happy that I started in 2017 and I want to continue working on them and improving them is biting my nails, because I've always been really bad at that. I've always done it, and it was only last year that I really got a good start on it. And my right hand is doing pretty okay actually, but it's my left hand that is really bad, and I don't know why I was only able to manage to improve one hand. So I hope in this new year I can improve both. Another thing that I want to continue doing is making YouTube videos, and I've been doing it pretty consistently, at least consistently enough for me for 2017, and I just want to maintain that. I don't want to necessarily do more or do less. I'm happy with where I'm at, but there have been so many times that I've wanted to just remove my entire channel. I've wanted to delete all my videos, or at the very least stop making more, because I feel like there's nothing else that I can say about cancer, but that's not really true. Recovery is constant, and also I want to include more guests so I can talk about things with them that maybe aren't part of my experiences but might still be helpful for you guys. And maybe I'll try to talk about things that aren't so cancer related, just other random life things or thoughts that I've had about the world, so that way I don't have to necessarily always talk about cancer related things. But yeah, I want to continue making videos, and while I started technically last year adding guests, it's very much a new year thing to have guests, and I'd like to have 6 in total minimum by the end of the year. Ideally, it'd be nice to have 1 a month, but I'm not sure how feasible that is, especially with study and work. So I'm just putting the goal of 6 in a year, and I hope you guys enjoy these videos. Something that is cancer related and is a goal for me for 2018 is to be more involved in the youth cancer organization in my city, because they're really great. They do a lot of lovely things, but I always felt like they didn't have enough cancer patient specific things. Often they do a lot of events for all their members, including people or children or young adults who have had a parent go through cancer or pass away from cancer. And obviously that is incredibly hard, but it's a very different experience of cancer, and I'd often wanted to be at an event where I just had other patients with me. And so I'd like to at least make 1 or 2 events with them in the next 9 months, because once it's my birthday in September, I age out because I turned 26. So it's really my last chance to do anything with them and to do anything significant. So I feel like I really want to do that. I would really regret it if I didn't. And so that's one of my goals. One of my goals is just to go to Europe, which I already have the tickets booked with my partner to go to the Netherlands to see his family and to go to the south of Spain for a holiday, and as well for me to reconnect with Spain. And another resolutions that I have that is connected to Spain and my Spanish family and heritage is to do some advanced Spanish lessons. I grew up speaking Spanish, but then as a child, once I went to school, I stopped speaking Spanish to my parents. I'd speak to them in English, they'd speak back to me and my sisters in Spanish. And so over the years, I have lost it a bit. I'm just really sad about that, and I've become embarrassed even that I can't speak it fluently anymore. So I've decided to just set time aside, at least one lesson a month, and I'm sure I can do more, but that's just a reasonable goal, to put one lesson a month online. There's a website called italki that I've recently discovered, and so I just want to do one lesson a month, something advanced level where I just have to talk and I force myself into that situation. And I've already done my lesson for this month. I did it yesterday, and I'm going to try to schedule them once a week and just see how that goes in case later on in the year I have no time for them. But I really enjoyed it. I had so much anxiety leading up to it, but then once I got into the call, I just did it. I just told myself, you're gonna feel crappy, you're gonna feel embarrassed, you're gonna feel sad about this, but the only way to get better and to feel more connected to the language and that culture that is yours is to speak it and to be part of it. But for me, it's just really important to have the language back. And so if you have been trying to learn a language, I'd recommend this website. You just go on Skype calls with different teachers and they all have different prices and different levels of expertise. Or if you want to brush up on a language that you've lost over time, I'd really recommend going to italki. Another goal of mine is to make a new friend. I'd like to read a book once a month or listen to an audiobook once a month and just see if that's too easy for me. And if it is, I might put it up to a higher number. But I find that there are months when I read a lot of books, and then there's maybe a month or two where I read no books. I also have some resolutions to do with work and study, but they're not very interesting to share. And I also decided to get a daily planner. This is the Frankie one, which is an Australian magazine. They release a new diary every year. And this is the one for 2018. I really like making my lists and my task lists at work, but I find that when I'm not at work, I don't write lists, and often I'm not very productive. And so I found that by maybe having this and making little lists for each day, even when I'm maybe studying or not having work, then I'll stay on top of those tasks. And so far I've been really liking it, but I might be one of those people that, is obsessed with it in January, forgets about it in February, and then throws it into the bin in March. I don't know, but I still wanted to try it because I feel like I could get into it now that I'm so into lists at work. And another resolution I want to do, but I forgot to write it down, was to work on articulating my words, speaking a little bit slower, and just pronouncing things better. Obviously, I want to work on being able to, speak sentences, to say sentences well. In English, I don't feel like that sentence was a proper sentence, but you get my point. I do want to work on that, but I feel like Chemo Brain has pushed me back, and it's something that I'm just slowly working on. But I feel like I can work on a lot more with the way that I speak. Because if I can speak a bit slower, that will give me more time to think. If I can articulate my words, hopefully people will understand me more. And I just feel like being a bit more measured in the way that I speak will only help me in communicating, as I said, for YouTube, but also just for myself when I talk to other people around me. And I just used to always speak really quickly. My family speaks very quickly. I don't know if it's something that Spanish speakers do. I think in Spanish, people speak very quickly. I think part of the reason why I want to work so much on pronunciation, being able to articulate my words and speak slower, is that it's something that's very much in my control. I don't find it hard to focus on those things when it's in the forefront of my mind. Whereas I feel like, making perfect English sentences is harder because of Chemo Brain. It's something that I'm struggling with more, or trying to pick words or certain vocab. I find that quite hard, and I do it well, I am fine, but when I think about where I was before and how I want to continue improving just as I grow older, I find that's something that, while it is in my control, there are a lot more barriers, whereas things to do with the way that I speak and the tone of my speech, that's stuff that I can control a lot easier, so it's something that I want to work on. So thanks so much for watching. Please leave your thoughts down below, or any resolutions that you might have for 2018, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye!